It's been almost a week since we hit 5 months of Donald Trump's presidency. And as you probably know, we've got a tradition here, breaking down each month of his second term and giving it a straight up honest score. Now, we're a little behind schedule thanks to that whole situation with Iran, but since Trump hasn't done anything new or crazy yet, let's go ahead and get into month number 5. I'm gonna ask AI to break down Trump's 5th month in office, figure out the best and the worst things that he did, and by the end, ChatGPT will give this month an honest score from 0 to 10. And as always, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop your score in the comments down below. YouTube may end up blocking comments that are just a number, so it's better if you explain your score a bit. And let's agree, no negative scores, all right? Okay, with all of that out of the way, let's get into it. And here we go. Now I'm letting ChatGPT run deep research to pull together everything from Trump's presidency between May 20th and June 20th. And once that's done, I'll kick things off with the first question. This kind of research usually takes about 10 to 20 minutes, so we're just gonna skip ahead. All right, it's done. We're all set. It needs to be clear, straightforward, unbiased, call a spade, no sugarcoating, no fluff, no spin, and as always, give its own take on every single question. First up, I wanted to break down the entire month in detail and share its own thoughts along the way, and here's the answer. Donald Trump's 5th month back in office, May 20th to June 20th, 2025, was chaos in motion. It was a non-stop parade of executive orders, partisan fights, international tension, and aggressive moves across every corner of policy. Some of it was calculated, some impulsive, and a lot of it was loud. If anyone thought Trump might mellow out in his second term, this month crushed that idea completely. He came in swinging with a legislative win in the House, barely. His massive tax cut and welfare reform bill passed by a single vote. It was pure Trump. Give the rich more breaks, gut Medicaid and food stamps, kill off green energy credits, and pour money into border security and the military. It was a political victory, no question, but also a warning. The Senate was already shaping up to be a harder fight, with growing pushback, including from someone Trump didn't expect, Elon Musk. Musk slammed Trump's budget bill, calling it a disgusting abomination that would explode the national debt, gut clean energy incentives, and trap future generations in what he called debt slavery. Then on June 5th, he went further, posting that Trump's name appears in the Epstein files and implying that this might be why some documents were still sealed. The post went viral, then disappeared less than 2 days later. But the damage was done. What started as a strong alliance turned into a political feud almost overnight, and it showed that in Trump's world, loyalty isn't optional, even for the richest man on earth. Meanwhile, he governed almost entirely by executive order: nuclear energy revival, science standards, fossil fuel deregulation, environmental rollbacks, travel bans. If it could be done with a signature, he did it. He hit 163 executive orders by mid-June. That's more than Biden signed in 4 years. Most of these orders were just flashy slogans meant to dominate headlines and pick fights with universities, scientists, and regulators. But the sheer volume of actions made one thing clear. Trump doesn't care about consensus, he wants results. His way, now. His fight with Harvard was pure theater, banning them from accepting foreign students and accusing them of housing anti-American agitators. A judge blocked it quickly, but Trump made his point. He also tried to kill the Department of Education and got slapped down in court again. This kind of overreach happened repeatedly. He tossed red meat to his base, but legal roadblocks kept piling up. More than 250 lawsuits were already filed against his executive actions by the end of the month. He didn't seem to care. He just kept pushing forward. The real wild card this month was the Israel-Iran clash that erupted in early June. Trump backed Israel loudly, cranked up pressure on Iran, and hinted at taking extreme action. At the time, it felt like things were racing towards something explosive, tense, fast-moving, and unpredictable. Now we know how it ended. A round of US and Iranian strikes, then a ceasefire that left the region right where it started. But during Trump's 5th month in office, the storm was still building, and he was right at the center, pushing it forward with everything he had. Back home, he turned the military on protesters in Los Angeles after immigration raids over the objections of California's governor. A court told him to stand down, then another court said it was legal. That back and forth says a lot. Trump tests limits constantly, and the courts scramble to catch up. He's not waiting for permission, he's daring people to stop him. Some might call it strong leadership, but when a president sends troops into cities over local objections and fights the courts to make it stick, it stops being about law and order and starts looking a lot more like control. Then came one of the flashiest moments of the month, the Army's 250th anniversary parade, conveniently timed with Trump's birthday. Tanks, flyovers, flags, all the trappings of power on display. But instead of rallying the country, it lit a fuse. Across the US, over 5 million people joined the No Kings protests, rejecting the whole idea of presidential power as personal theater. While Trump waved from the center of his made-for-TV parade, Americans were out in the streets saying enough. That's the pattern with him. Even when he's not speaking, he's performing. And the harder he tries to look in control, the more divided it all feels. Internationally, he did manage to sign a trade deal with the UK, one of the few traditional diplomatic moves all month, but even that came with Trump-style showmanship. He floated the idea of bringing Russia back into the G7 and skipped the summit's closing sessions to rush home for Iran briefings. Allies weren't thrilled. A Canadian Indigenous elder said he nearly walked out of the G7 welcome because Trump's presence offended him that much. That says a lot about how the world sees this presidency. He's not subtle, not easy to deal with, but he's still the US president and everyone has to engage whether they like it or not. Bottom line, this month was Trump in his purest form. Loud, fast, unapologetic, a budget bill passed. Tariffs were negotiated. His judicial picks got through. He forced the country to focus on his agenda, day after day. But most of what he did was by force of will, not by building support. He stirred the pot constantly and made sure everyone, supporters, opponents, the media, foreign leaders, had no choice but to react. That's not effective governance in the traditional sense. It's power through volume and chaos. Some of it will stick, some of it will be struck down, but Trump's betting that if he keeps moving fast enough, the backlash will never catch him. Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot. Things move so fast during Trump's second term, it's hard to even keep track, really. First, everyone was talking about his fallout with Elon Musk, then all that focus shifted to the LA protests, and right after that, Trump bombed Iran, and that was all anyone could think about. Like, does anyone even remember that Musk said Trump's name was in the Epstein files? That story just kinda vanished from the news completely. But enough about the bad stuff. Let's ask ChatGPT what it thinks was actually the best thing that Trump did this month. And since you don't know the answer yet, take a moment to pause this video, jump down into the comments, and tell me what you think it's going to say. Honestly, the best thing Trump did this month in terms of actual policy with long-term impact was the US-UK trade agreement. Out of everything he pushed, that was the one move that had real substance, clear benefits, and minimal drama, at least by Trump standards. It was a concrete economic achievement. The deal lowered tariffs, opened markets, and gave both sides something to celebrate. For the US, it meant easier exports, especially for agriculture and manufacturing. For the UK, it was a post-Brexit win to secure a strong trade partner. And unlike most of Trump's other actions, this wasn't done through executive order or by bulldozing opposition. It involved actual negotiation with a close ally and had bipartisan appeal, something that's been rare during his second term. There were no obvious legal landmines, no massive protests, no court challenges. It was a win that didn't divide the country even more. Just straight-up diplomacy without a partner nation, executed without chaos. That kind of boring, grown-up governance might not be flashy, but in a month full of threats, protests, military deployments, and lawsuits, it stood out. Alright, so the deal with the UK was the best thing this month. And yeah, chat's right about boring governance. I mean, I honestly didn't even notice it with everything else going on. But anyway, I think we can all agree with that answer. So now let's do the same thing, but this time for the worst thing that he did. And here's what it said. The worst thing Trump did this month was ordering active duty troops into Los Angeles to crack down on immigration protests. California's governor opposed the move, but Trump did it anyway. It wasn't a response to chaos, it was a show of federal muscle aimed at shutting people up. Marines were sent into an American city not to protect anyone, but to intimidate. Protests are a constitutional right, not a trigger for military action. That's what police are for. Trump just didn't like the optics of resistance and used the military to stamp it out. That's not how democratic governments are supposed to behave. The courts had to step in and rule against him, which says everything. This wasn't strong leadership, it was overreach, plain and simple. Sending troops against civilians inside the US without state consent erodes trust and stirs fear. It turns disagreement into a threat to be neutralized. And once that becomes normal, it's not democracy anymore. It's power for the sake of power. No distraction, no news cycle spin. This was the most reckless and dangerous thing he did all month. Alright, fair enough. I mean, honestly, this one could make the list of his worst decisions so far. Let me know in the comments if you'd want a video like Trump's 10 worst decisions from his first 6 months back in office. I think that could be a fun one to break down. And since we've got a little pause here, take a moment to hit the like button if you're enjoying the video, and most importantly, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. YouTube really needs that engagement to push this video to more people. Thanks so much, and now let's get to the score. Okay, it's time. Let's see how ChatGPT rates Donald Trump's 5th month in office from 0 to 10. And here we go. Trump's 5th month in office was loud, fast, and messy. He pushed hard on nearly everything: tax cuts, immigration, trade, executive orders, and war posture. But most of it backfired or came at a heavy cost. His budget bill passed the House, but that's only half the job. The UK trade deal was solid, but it barely registered amid the noise. He crossed serious lines, sending the military into a US city to confront protesters and ruling almost entirely by executive order while ignoring legal limits. Courts stepped in constantly. Protests exploded. Allies kept their distance. What little he got done was overshadowed by the damage. This month wasn't boring, but it was reckless, divisive, and unstable from start to finish. My score? 2 out of 10. Loud? Yes. Out of control? Definitely. Worth it? No. Alright, got it. 2 out of 10 from ChatGPT, which honestly feels fair after everything we just went through, but be sure to let me know in the comments what you think about that score. And as always, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the links in the description if you want to support the channel directly. After that, be sure to check out the full playlist where Chat rated the previous 4 months, just like we did today. Thanks for watching, click on that playlist, and I'll see you over there in just a moment.